Whenever you're ready.
Participants, thank you for standing by. I now hand the conference over to Ms. Alpana Kilawala. Thank you, and over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Shaima, and welcome once again to everyone who are in this booth and on the conference call. I'll hand over the conference to Governor. Sir.
Thank you. We left all rates unchanged. The key paragraph in the statement is paragraph 18, which I'll read out for those who haven't read the statement. Still weak demand and the rapid pace of recent disinflation are factors supporting monetary accommodation. However, the weak transmission by banks of the recent fall in money market rates into lending rates suggests monetary policy shifts will primarily have signaling effects for a while. Nevertheless, these signaling effects are likely to be large because the Reserve Bank has repeatedly indicated that once the monetary policy stance shifts, subsequent policy actions will be consistent with the changed stance. There is still some uncertainty about the evolution of base effects in inflation, the strength of the ongoing disinflationary impulses, the pace of change of the public's inflationary expectations, as well as the success of the government's efforts to hit deficit targets. A change in the monetary policy stance at the current juncture, is premature. However, if the current inflation momentum and changes in inflationary expectations continue, and fiscal developments are encouraging, a change in the monetary policy stance is likely early next year, including outside the policy review cycle. I'm sure you can read the rest of the statement and parse it. Let me add a few more points which didn't quite belong in the statement. First, as far as the monetary policy framework, the new monetary policy framework goes, we are in discussion with the government and we hope to finalize a framework shortly. The government has indicated that it is comfortable in setting a target of 4% plus minus 2%, as suggested by a number of committees, including the Urjit Patel Committee, for inflation beyond 2016. Second, there is substantial financial stress still in some sectors. We have been taking a holistic view instead of a sector-by-sector view, keeping in mind the need for flexibility in financial restructuring while limiting the extent of forbearance. In the next few days, I hope to be able to announce two key relaxations. One is a move towards 525 restructuring for existing projects, which are standard, and also to allow banks to take equity in restructurings to a greater extent than they currently can. We're discussing the price at which such conversions can be done with SEBI as of now. So those are the two additional announcements I wanted to make, and now we'd be happy to take questions. Oh, one more point, which is I'd like to introduce Mr. Michael Patra, who is our Executive Director for Monetary Policy and has taken over. So any complaints you have with monetary policy, please address to him. And okay, questions?
Yes, Simran. There.
Hello, Governor. This is Simran Gill from ET Now. You certainly have given a positive statement out here saying that if a change in monetary policy stance continues, there will be a change in monetary policy stance if inflation continues the way it is. So just wanted to understand from you, what are the upside risks attached to this statement of yours? Do you feel, you've already said by March you may reach 6%, but going forward, what are the upside risks? How much more risky could it be, this statement of yours?
Well, upside risk to inflation?
No, to the statement that you could go ahead and maybe cut rates much earlier in the next fiscal,
You mean
and also change your monetary policy
You mean
stance.
how positive can you interpret it?
Yeah.
Is that the question? Well, as positive as you need to interpret it. I know that Depends on your frame of mind. Let me tell you the thinking behind this. That is, we are certainly seeing a disinflationary process, and of course, world developments, crude oil, etc., have been positive from that perspective for India. We want to get more certainty about the pace of the disinflationary process, as well as get a little more sense of some developments on the fiscal front, etc. As of now, and this is why the stance remains unchanged, we think that we are well set at this point, but as the information comes in, our sense is that if it goes according to expectations, it will be towards monetary accommodation. The stronger the information, the sooner the accommodation.
Next one, Lata.
Governor, when you say that a change in monetary policy stance is contingent if the current inflation momentum and changes in inflation expectation continue, do you mean that if it goes according to your fan chart, that will satisfy you to change policy stance, or do you want a further downward surprise? Likewise, when you say that you are looking at fiscal developments, whether they are encouraging, would you look at the quality of achievement of the current year or the quality of promises of the next year?
Okay, very good questions. On the first one, the question on the fan chart itself. I mean, at this point, of course, we'll take both a narrowing because we are set for the target. We would like to see a narrowing of the bands so that we feel more comfortable that the target is likely to be achieved with high probability. But of course, if it goes below the target, if information comes in that takes us below, that will also be a source of comfort. But when we're looking for more information, it's really to reduce the bands of uncertainty at this point, which will also hopefully move the mean down of what we expect.
Comes in line, that will be good enough.
I think we'll have to take that call. But I've said if the trends continue, that is what we're looking for. We want to make sure that this process is well underway. We've had a couple of months after 4.5 years, 5 years of high inflation. So we want to make sure that this is for real. And especially because we don't intend to flip-flop. Again, if the world changes dramatically or circumstances change dramatically, you will have to respond. But we don't want to follow sort of every piece of information up and down. We'd rather change and change for good. On the second issue of the fiscal, it's one of the, I wouldn't say it's the central thing we're looking at, but it's one of the number of things that we've enumerated that we would like more information on. And at this point, it is whether we can achieve the targets set for the current budget, not the next one. Obviously, we would also like to see a good budget going forward. Our discussions with the government suggest that things will be on track. And of course, what we're looking for is that to happen.
Subhashri there.
Governor Subhashri from Reuters. Related to the paragraph 18, if I can add, Reserve Bank has repeatedly indicated that once the monetary policy stance shifts, subsequent policy actions will be consistent with the changed stance. I wanted to understand, consistent with the changed stance means what exactly? Does it mean that you are going to be fulfilling it through liquidity or through interest rates, or, I mean, what is the priority?
It just means if we're moving in the direction of more accommodation, then, we're not going to do things which are in opposition to that change. So, for example, we won't suddenly, for example, cut rates one policy and then increase rates the next. That's how you should
What
read
about
it.
the liquidity? Will that be also consistently changed? That stance will be consistently
I
changed?
think we're already at a place where we're providing substantial liquidity to the markets consistent with the policy rate. And the idea would be to continue providing liquidity consistent with the policy rate.
Just one point on this, Governor. I mean, you have been doing OMO sales to drain out the additional liquidity, which you term as maybe a structural one because of using this tool as OMO. I wanted to understand, sir, when liquidity was in a permanent deficit mode, you were not using OMO purchase to that extent that you are using OMO sale this time. You were using term repos. I wanted to understand the reason for shifting to OMO sales from maybe a term reverse repo for draining out liquidity.
Right. So we have in mind a certain projection for the rate at which we want our balance sheet to grow, right? And we want to keep the rate of growth of the balance sheet consistent with what we want inflation to be. So when we find that the balance sheet is growing faster or slower, we undertake open market operations to change the size of the to adapt the size and the composition of the balance sheet to keep that in mind.
So it is related to the forex.
That's part
forwards is
of that's
what it
part
is.
of the change in the balance sheet size. That is part of the change in the balance sheet size. But there could be other reasons. So the open market operations aren't really undertaken for short-term liquidity needs or liquidity purposes, but for longer-term balance sheet related changes. So that's how you should interpret them. I know that some people have been thinking about us using it to manage long-term interest rates. We are not trying to manage long-term interest rates in any way.
Thank you.
Okay, Saloni.
It's a nice way of asking a second
No,
question.
no, not at all, sir. Not at all. You will notice it's a continuation. Since you say that you are more looking at the quality of fiscal adjustment in the current year, should we therefore assume that when you say early next year, you mean the even before the first quarter or within the first quarter itself? I'm asking to what extent do you want to look at inflation numbers? Do you want confirmation till March 2013, 2015 itself, or if the fisc and the inflation trajectory satisfy you by Jan or Feb, that will suffice?
I think we've been careful about not specifying a specific month or we're looking for information to build certainty. When we are more certain about the process, we will act. So I think that's about how much I can tell you.
Early next year is calendar, not
Calendar year. Early next year's calendar year. Now you can parse the word early in many ways and try to figure out what early means. But really it's about us having the confidence that that those bands are tightening.
Okay, Saloni.
Governor, two questions. First one is on, the interactions that I have with either the Finance Ministry or Corporate India. Now, their concern is that, while formulating your monetary policy, be it what is happening on ground when it comes to the macros, be it inflation, be it crude, be it, the yesterday core sector data, you while formulating your monetary policy, seem to be disconnected with the woes of corporate India? That is the first question. Second is just to highlight and take your view on this particular line in the monetary policy. Weak tax revenue growth, slow pace of disinvestment suggests some uncertainty about the likely achievement of fiscal targets, though you say that the government appears determined to stay on course. What I would like to ask you, is there some concern that there will be some amount of fiscal slippage?
Let me answer your second question first. I would use the word uncertainty because obviously the pace of revenue inflows, etc., depend on growth, which itself is an uncertain element right now. But I would reiterate that government has told us quite strongly that they're determined to stick to the targets. And so that's what we've said in the policy. On the first, I think there is a misconception in corporate India that the central bank is not concerned about growth. It is a misconception because the fundamental way to get sustainable growth in this country, and we're not talking about growth this quarter. In fact, monetary policy will not affect growth this quarter. It has long lags. It's been established in India. 3-4 quarters down the line, you'll see the consequences. What again and again we've seen is in India, but outside India also, the way to sustainable growth is to have moderate inflation. The big fight between savers and producers has been that savers are seeing high inflation and don't want to save in financial assets. Producers are seeing low inflation and say, oh my God, interest rates are so high, how can I invest? How do you bring the two together? By bringing inflation down. Otherwise, we're going to have this again and again. And so I think it's very short-sighted when people comment that you're not helping growth this quarter. We're not talking about quarters. We're talking about years of sustainable growth. In order to get that, you need to fight inflation, beat it, and then you can get the sustainable growth. So I think that's a message that has to seep through. And the RBI is certainly not against growth. We want the strongest growth for this country that is possible. And that means creating the framework which will make that sustainable growth possible. We've been working on the framework. We are nearly there. And I would say bear with us. And hopefully, if we can reach there and stay there, it will produce many years of strong growth for corporate India. After all, if you're investing, are you bothered about interest rates this quarter? What we've done, the government and the Reserve Bank, by bringing down expectations of inflation, which have been coming down in the market, is long-term bonds. Since July, they've come down by 60, 70 basis points. That's a fall in the borrowing rate. Short-term rates have come down because we've managed liquidity much better. There's plenty of liquidity. Those are positives for corporate India. They should accept that there have been some positive developments. Going forward, when monetary policy turns, hopefully it will turn when the expectations broadly in markets, in financial markets, which determine the rates they pay, the expectations of bankers will be such that the bankers are willing to give them better rates. Now, what I also see is a whole lot of confusion out there about what rates the Reserve Bank is responsible for and what rates corporate India is responsible for. The immense risk premium that is being demanded of some corporates because of the state of their leverage, because of the risks that they've taken, and because of their inability or unwillingness to repay, should not be attributed to the Reserve Bank. What we control is the risk-free rate. What they can control is the risk premium that is demanded of them. And that would be also, and I've stated this before, something that they should work on even as we work on bringing down inflation and bringing down the risk-free rate that they have to pay.
Pradeep?
आपने जो ये कहा है कि बैंक्स ने मनी मार्केट में जो रेट्स कम हुए हैं उसका फ़ायदा पास ऑन नहीं किया है, क्या आप ये सिग्नल दे रहे हैं कि आपने चूंकि ये भी कह दिया है कि आप तो अगले साल रेट कट करने ही वाले हैं और आप खुलकर ये कह रहे हैं कि बैंक्स पास ऑन नहीं कर रहे, तो आप ये समझते हैं या चाहते हैं कि बैंक्स रेट कट करें आपके रेट कट का इंतज़ार किए बिना?
See, not my place to tell the banks what to do. नहीं, मैंने ये नहीं कहा कि उनको कट करना चाहिए. मैंने बस यही कहा कि वो कट नहीं कर रहे हैं. Recognize the difference between describing a phenomenon and requesting an action. It is not my job to tell the banks what to do. All I'm saying is that even though rates have come down, they have not passed it on. So the transmission process is still not working as significantly, and therefore, one would imagine that if past falls in short-term rates haven't been passed through, an additional rate cut, there's only a mild chance. I do believe that there is a signaling effect, and I do believe that once banks are confident that rates will come down and stay down, they may start passing through more. Now, for us to reach that point where we can signal very strongly about interest rates, I think today is premature, but I've laid out the conditions where we think we will be in a position to move.
सर एक और सवाल, जो आपने आउटसाइड दी पॉलिसी का एक नया रिस्क क्रिएट किया है, उसके पीछे क्या आप सोच रहे हैं? ये अनसर्टेनिटी आपने क्रिएट की कि आउटसाइड दी पॉलिसी भी हो जाएगा. अभी तक जो 10 मिनट का वक्त था तो ज़्यादातर जो बैंकर्स से इकोनॉमिस्ट से हम लोगों की बात हुई, उनका कहना है कि शायद आप बजट के बाद करना चाहते हैं. इसलिए आपने आउटसाइड द पॉलिसी कहा।
I might as well leave it as a risk, not be more specific.
Bijoy, this side.
Hi, Bijoy from Cogensis. Couple of questions. One is on, you've said that the government is comfortable with 4% median kind of inflation rate with plus or minus 2%. How dynamic will the RBI policy be after that? Because you also do not want the risk of being seen as, constantly moving on either side of the spectrum. So how dynamic can you afford to be, and how much space will that leave for your monetary policy? That's my first question. Also, a slightly different question. With a lot of new banking licenses being, issued and in the process, are you looking for a streamlined framework, for a legal framework for all kinds of banks and financial institutions that come under your purview? Thank you.
The issue of a policy being dynamic, what actually the band gives you, 4 plus or minus 2, as a medium-term target to endeavor towards, is predictability. And therefore, it does not mean that the policies would be changed too frequently. In fact, exactly the opposite, to ensure that we stay within the band. And therefore, that should only help to bring the risk premium down for everything that is priced off the risk-free rate. And so it, in fact, is a transition towards a more stable policy regime, and it need not be something that would fluctuate more than in the past, in fact less so. On the banking, I would turn
Sir,
to...
if I could just chime in. The earlier policy cycle, like Pradeep sir just said, was a 2-month cycle, and there was certain certainty in how it kind of functioned. With the fact that you all have introduced the element of surprise again, it's not that it was ever away, but the fact that you all have stated it clearly that there is a possibility of inter-policy actions. Is it a sense that you want your policy to be more dynamic, and in that sense, will it be more dynamic in the next framework too?
No, I think that's should be interpreted as our willingness to say that once we have enough information, we will make a move, and we won't. I mean, at some point, it may be that the information comes in between policy cycles. So I think it's basically saying that we are alert to all the information, and I think that's essentially the message we wanted to send. On the issue of banks, I think the licenses we are giving certainly fit within the scope of the BR Act, and therefore, at this point, there's no need to change. But over time, we will see that there are certain issues that we need to take up to make the legislation governing the banks more uniform. At that point, we will take it up in some new legislation.
Govardhan.
Govardhan from the Economic Times. Now that 4% target is almost taken by the government, is the government's fiscal path that has been laid out, is that good enough for you to get to 4%, or what more would you need in terms of quality of fiscal numbers to get to that 4%, and by when it can happen?
I think for now, what you need to take is 4 plus minus 2 includes 6. So once we get to 6, we are at the edges of the longer term target. Now the time frame to reach the midpoint of that target and all that will have to be discussed, and it will come out. But in a sense, what the glide path of that the Urjit Patel Committee report suggested puts us within the bands, from which point the guiding path will be the new bands as and when that is formalized. But all I wanted to say is that that gives us now a sense of where we are going beyond 2016 January.
And you mentioned about, sir, allowing banks to take equity in the restriction. Is it going to be CDR by another name, or how is that going to be
No,
present
in-
to ensure that it is not misused?
It will be in the restructuring process. As part of the restructuring process, today they can take 10%, they will be able to take more. As was the case before, I think, May 2013.